We could be seeing the Disney Cruise Line head into Australia as early as 2023. Disney and Australia have had a long and interesting relationship. In the 90s, there were talks of a possible Disneyland at the Gold Coast in Queensland, and in the early 2000s, a project was proposed to the New South Wales government for an entire Disney suburb just outside of the Sydney city centre. It seems that Disney has long wanted to penetrate the Australian market, and for good reason. In 2021, Australia was ranked second for countries with the highest median wealth per adult. Despite having a relatively low population, Australia's wealth and density, especially along the eastern coast, makes it a perfect opportunity for foreign investors, especially in the tourism and leisure sector, as by law, Australians receive a minimum of 4 weeks of holidays per year. As an island nation, this is often spent going overseas, which has heavy overhead travel costs for expenses such as flights. Rumours have circulated around the Walt Disney Company regarding a possible Sydney port for the Disney Cruise Line since 2019, but since then things have gone understandably quiet. Though recently we've started to see some very interesting work happening that indicates that this is more than just a rumour thanks to new government registrations. In October of 2021, the Magical Cruise Company Limited, the trading name for Disney Cruise Line, was registered with an Australian business number as an other incorporated entity. This category includes being a branch of an overseas company not incorporated in Australia, and it's not all that uncommon for international businesses to have these to safeguard trademarks and possible future investments. The more interesting part is the timeline of these events. As of the 1st of January, just a couple months later, the Magical Cruise Company Limited registered for GST, also known as the Australian Goods and Services Tax, which, speaking to those in the know about Australia's tax system, is a good indicator that this business is spending money within Australia. As a new business, you need to spend money, and often your expenses will carry this GST. If you're registered, then you have the right to claim that GST back as a refund or credit. And this is Disney we're talking about, so of course if they're going to spend money, then they're going to want to get back as much as possible. The final very good indicator is that just last month, Magical Cruise Company Limited registered the name Disney Cruise Line with the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, the financial regulator here in Australia. The slow movement of these events indicates that this isn't a reactionary precaution to safeguard trademarks or the Disney Cruise Line name. It all indicates that work is happening in the background and is gearing towards a possible announcement once everything is figured out. Unfortunately, at this stage, Disney has not announced anything officially. I've seen inklings that indicate that this could be related to a post on Facebook from 2011 regarding some job listings in Sydney, but there is absolutely no way that Disney could work on something like this for a decade behind the scenes without anything getting out. But it does show that the company has been interested in this market for a while. And the timing is very advantageous for the company. Disney is actively expanding their fleet with their new Triton class of ships. The first of which is the Disney Wish, which has already been floated and is expecting its first sailing on July 14th, 2022. Though there are currently 2 other ships within this class that we know very little about, which were announced in 2016 and 2017. Both of these are expected to be in service within the next 3 years, but there is no indication as to what their home port will be. And the rumor that has spread around the Disney company is that either one of these will have a home port or regular stop in Sydney, or one of their older ships will be relocated down here to the Southern Hemisphere. Currently, cruise lines such as Royal Caribbean will schedule some of their ships to share ports in differing locations depending on the time of the year, with an example being the Ovation of the Seas, which uses Sydney as a home port from October to April, which are historically Australia's warmer months, and then servicing Alaska for the rest of the year. Disney could do something similar here, moving between destinations such as Sydney and Singapore or Alaska. But considering the appeal of a Disney cruise and the reach of the brand in Australia, I feel that their intention may be to provide itineraries all year round. This would give them an opportunity to advertise their summer itineraries as premium experiences, and then use the winter itineraries to capture a cheaper market, but advertise them as more relaxed. Now, things may still be a ways off. Checking other registries such as IP Australia currently shows no results for Disney Cruise Line, but interestingly does show results for Disneyland and Disney Sea. Most of the time this is a purely legal precaution, so don't expect Disney Sea Australia anytime soon. But also these things take time, with the example being that Disney Pixar Lightyear, a film that comes out in several weeks, is still in review since its October filing. The most likely outcome is that one of their new ships releasing in either 2024 or 2025 will replace one of their smaller ships in an existing home port in the US, and that replaced ship will come down south to Australia. We may also see Itinerary start as early as late 2023, and here's why. The reasoning behind this is that all of the 5 existing Disney ships will be in the US for their winter season, which is historically a quieter time for the cruise line. It wouldn't surprise us if we saw one of these ships venture down to Australia from October of 2023, which also lines up with Disney's current itinerary listings that only go until September of the same year. Some of these itineraries have only been announced within the last month, which means that we could be months or weeks off a possible announcement. This scheduling would give them an opportunity to capitalize on the busier summer season in Australia, which is exactly what we're seeing from cruise lines like Virgin Voyages and Royal Caribbean. After all of this, the information that we've found and the gaps within Disney's scheduling, I have zero doubts that Disney is coming to Australia. Financially, it makes sense. As an island nation, travel is expensive for us. To fly to Europe alone without anything else, a family would be looking at paying a minimum of $6,000. So imagine if Disney could turn around and provide an entire week-long family holiday where you are surrounded by Disney that includes food, entertainment, and no time spent on a plane for a similar amount of money. They would make a fortune. And with Disney this week also announcing that Australia will be getting their own local branch of Shop Disney, it's clear that their focus on Australia is only expanding. We're going to keep a close eye on this one because as Australians, we're always interested in seeing new themed entertainment ventures shake up our market. Competition is never a bad thing unless you're not willing to compete, so it only means better things for our industry and its consumers. But until then, I'm Dom from ReviewTyme. Subscribe to stay up to date, and we'll see you in the next video.